This is, yeah, it's uncomfortable. Like you can feel, you can see me twitching. Leo, what you're going through is one of the most beautiful, amazing, empowering times of your life. It's just a tricky time for you because your sense of self is constantly brought into question. How deeply do you need to love those parts of yourself that you're ashamed of? That's what we're gonna talk about right now. We're gonna work on those shadow parts of ourselves. And those shadow parts of ourselves are not connected to what we've done wrong. It's those things that we hate about ourselves, the shadow work, the work on those parts of you that you don't love, that you wish what would go away. Because the truth is, especially with your persona, you want so badly to look perfect and seem perfect and be hailed as perfect all the time, and that's just not who you are. And then when you're exposed and those parts of you are exposed, be getting very defensive and very combatant. Yeah, just because you don't want people to see those parts of you that you hate, right? So fuck what other people think. Because what I feel is this is about you learning how to love what you've decided to be disgusted by. And those things that you decide to be disgusted by are growing ever more disgusting by the minute. And it's because they just are leaping out and they need your love and they need your attention. They're the child that gets neglected and becomes the most horrible part of humanity because it gets more and more desperate as it gets more and more neglected. So there is this energy in your life right now that is really acting out and calling for your attention, and it may be acting out in ways that are horrendous, and it's because it wants love. It doesn't want to stay ugly. It wants to be love. It wants to be loved. It wants to have a way out. It wants a little bit of light. Right now it's like that wilted flower. It didn't have to be. It didn't have to be that dead thing. It could have been something beautiful. And that's something beautiful. The difference is simply how much attention do we give it. And it's almost like you don't want to give you've heard the parable, I'm sure, of the two wolves. And which wolf wins? Well, it's the wolf that you give attention to. But guess what? That's this mentality right now, Leo. It's no place for that parable, because this is a part of you. It's a part of your life. It's a part of something that is very close to you, and definitely for many of you, it's part of you yourself. And the reason why it is so ugly, it is because it has been so neglected. So this wolf just keeps getting more ravenous, and you're like, well, I shouldn't give it attention. No, you need to give it attention. You understand? You need to give it attention, not to hate it, not to throw things at it, and not to beat it, but to love it, to feed it some food, to get its foot out of the trap because it's in pain and it just wants freedom from the pain. Okay, this is about allowing yourself to love those ugly parts of yourself and your life, loving who you are. There is this beautiful energy of something beautiful wanting to come from something excruciatingly ugly. It's going to take you laying yourself bare, leaving yourself vulnerable to the point where your ugly comes out. And this is the one side that you hate everybody seeing. But let's stop. Because let's go back. Letting somebody else see it, or letting somebody else in the room during your therapy session, is not where you are in this energy right now. Where you are in this energy right now is a quiet, safe place where you just have to learn to love that ugly part of you. You're the one that has to look at it. It's nobody else. And I know that it's almost like you keep jumping ahead to that, well, what happens when? Or what will this person think of me if? Cut those thoughts out, because they're self-defeating. They're just going to like multiply the struggle that you're going through. What you need right now is to be like, it's not about the other people. They're not even in the room right now. It's me here by myself What do I see? And why is it so horrifying for me to look at these aspects of myself? You're not perfect, and there are parts of you that are ugly. And the way to make them beautiful is to accept them and to love them and to nurture them to the healthiest place that they can be. Now, I wonder why you disconnected from these parts to begin with. Where in your life or in your personal experience was there that time that you decided this part is so ugly it gets neglected? I'm not acknowledging it anymore. Well, those are the parts that need your help the most. Those are the people that need your help the most. Those are the people that always need the most help. Most things are not made evil. And I'm sorry, they're not born evil. They're made to be that way. It's through a steady program or routine of neglect and torment. And that has to do with people, that has to do with animals, and it of course has to do with different aspects and characteristics inside of yourself. So this week is really about working on those aspects of yourself, how to love those aspects. Let me show you. Mount Shasta, which is where I want to go sooner than later. It is in Northern California. It's a real place. But this is, and it's told to have a lot of connections to, alien encounters and portals into the other world. So this is a sense of you really needing to take yourself away from those places that you feel judged, or those places where you feel, those places that are common to you, those places that are expected, those places where everybody knows you. You need to take yourself away and go someplace that will take you almost into another realm. So spiritual work is very, very important right now. It's something that you need to get to the heart and soul of inside of yourself, or there's not going to be any, you need to get there, right? So take yourself outside of the norm. Even if you go away by yourself, leave. Get away. Get away to a place where it's a place of happy and you can be surrounded by non-judgment and serenity, and you're out of the normal places in your life. You don't want to be in the normal places in your life because there's too many associations of what you're obligated to look like in those places, and you need to disassociate yourself from them and make this as easy as possible. Transformation is here. Weakness and vulnerability, but also growth. This is a sense of becoming like the other half of the death card, right? That butterfly phase, that part where you are beginning something new, but you're most vulnerable when you're new because you have no experiences at all with it. So this is a sense of healing, 100% of reconnecting with those aspects of yourself that have been ignored. And that's how you're transforming yourself. You're transforming yourself to be more open-hearted and less judgmental by starting with you. Stepping through. And this is what I talk about portals. And this is what I talk about into emotions and feeling all those things that you have to feel. I think in terms of the emotional dynamic, that's where you're starting out, is feeling all those feelings that you don't want to acknowledge or that you don't like feeling, stepping into them and kind of washing yourself from the shame that you may have felt. Like that's what you're washing away. You're cleansing that sense of self-hatred from your psyche. You're also allowing yourself to be more emotional. And also stepping through as in a portal, which is going somewhere, going to a place where you are allowed to regenerate and you're allowed to be vulnerable and you're allowed to, there's no expectations for you whatsoever, in other words. And then we're coming into what's the most important card, I feel. The two most important cards are vulnerability. Now, vulnerability is a strength. And is a strength that so often people don't understand because it is a passive strength. It is a feminine strength. And you being a fire sign, there's very masculine energy. And masculine energy just means progressive, active. And this is passive energy. It is allowing. It's allowing yourself to be looked at. It's allowing yourself to be open. It's allowing yourself to be considered weak. Now, we all know that feminine energy is absolutely not weak. It is the perfect balance to masculine energy, which means it's just as strong, but it's strong in different ways. And that's what you're being challenged with right now, is to be strong in another way, to be brave, not by being aggressive or standing out, but by stepping back and allowing. And this is really healing work. You can see the crystal in this card. It's clarification, it's purification through understanding and love and opening yourself up to being healed. And I love how there is those crystals in the middle of the deck, and this dragonfly, which is a symbol of transformation and catharsis and moving on to the next stage of your life. See, this is just like clear quartz is about cleansing yourself, and you need to be cleansed. This almost feels like a detox or a retreat of some sort, and I'm not kidding. And I know that people feel like I am, like, I can't just get away, I have responsibilities. You know what? Cut that shit out. You have responsibilities to yourself first and foremost, because if you're not healthy, nothing that you do and nobody who interacts with you is. You understand? So you have to take care of you, because the real reason why you're making all those excuses is not because you can't find a way to do it. It's because you're still trying to avoid it. She of the Lotus is probably the most important card, along with vulnerability, that has come out right now for this sort of pre-reading, right? And that is because she is the one that tells you to love yourself and love those ugly parts of yourself. A lotus flower grows in murky, swampy, disgusting water. It is the beauty that can come from the dirt, the beauty that can come from the mud and the murk and the refuge and the garbage that everybody throws away. This is the card that speaks of loving those ugly aspects of yourself, finding how fertile they are, finding what their usefulness is, giving them a purpose, putting them to use, loving them, and finding the beauty, finding a way to make them beautiful. Not by covering them up, but by accepting them and accepting that they have potential too. It's about learning to love those aspects of yourself that you hate right now. Let's get into the major reading. Well, these are interesting revelations. I want to start with these first few cards. They came out in a bulk all by themselves, and they really came out in the past position, Leo. This is vulture spirit. Now, vulture spirit is all about finding the treasure in the trash heap, finding a usefulness for something that you were about to throw away, or being able to see in a very Aquarian way that the unusual and the discarded is sometimes the most beneficial, and being able to have the foresight to see that there's something useful here in what somebody else threw away. Now we have the Sagittarian energy that came out with it. Think on your feet, be spontaneous, live in the moment, have fun, be impractical, be wily, be just playful, right? This is Jupiterian energy as well, because it rules Sagittarius. So this is finding a lot of fortune and a lot of luck. And where is it looking? Where is it wanting? It always looks into the future, because Sagittarius energy is always thinking of the future. It's optimistic and it's hopeful. Embrace the in-between, this murky time, this time where nothing is certain. See the goodness, see the benefits. Understand that it is a hidden blessing right now, this hidden murky time that you're going through. This catharsis of sorts is yes, it's making you transition to this place that you never really knew before. But it doesn't mean it's bad. In fact, I would argue that what this is saying is there's so much luck. There's so many treasures that you're going to be able to find that are very beautiful. And it all looks the same right now, but that's because you don't know where to look and you don't know how to look. Right now, it'll become more evident and articulated as you get closer to it. This is also saying that, right now it may seem like it's very hard to pick things out of the crowd, be hard to discern what is valuable and what is not. But it's necessary. But forget about that. It's hard to discern what's valuable and what is not, but you will be able to do it. And there may be just value in general. But what I really wanted to say was, this speaks of finding or seeking, desperately looking for connection and connectivity and fitting in through a relationship, because partnership means so much to you. Having luck and a lot of fortune in your partnerships or in the crowds that you become a part of, friendships or romantic relationships, really broadening and expanding your mindset and always sort of surprising you and coming through for you when you least expect it. There is a sense of looking for love, looking for partnership, looking for healing through partnership. And this was a real fascinating aspect. These three cards. So it was make your dreams real, which is grandmother energy. And then there was home, which is Cancerian energy. So you have Scorpio and Cancerian energy. Those aspects of yourself that are darker, that you like to hide. And maybe that's why you like to manipulate and pull strings in order to basically be the one that's wielding things so you don't have to expose yourself, being super defensive and protective of those more tender places. But this is also the home you built and memory. So what does all this mean? Something to do with mother energy, plain and simple. There was something from your past that you're trying to make up for, a relationship with your mother that you're trying to make up for, maybe looking for your mother or looking for that connection, looking for happiness in a partnership that you did not feel or experience from your past. So this is learning from the past, learning and understanding. These issues go back to your childhood. They go back to your early relationships and the home that you were raised in, and basically feeling like you were walking in a spider web and no place was ever going to be safe. This has to do with becoming defensive or extremely aggressive in order to avoid learning from them. But this is okay. This is a lot. It's a lot. Because you're struggling and fighting this whole fucking time, and I know it. Like, I understand it. I get it. And I understand how painful this is. This has to do with the core of where you came from. It's not something you can change. Please understand that. You cannot change this. This is a sense of pain and hurt that has not gone away, or disappointment, ugliness, and shame that you have hidden. Maybe because you're trying to defend somebody you're trying to defend somebody. You're trying to defend them. You're trying to stick up for them, and you're trying to protect them. And if you let this out, it would be really bad for them. Plain and simple. But ultimately, it doesn't fucking matter if it's bad for them. It matters what's good for you. And that is exactly what you've got to face and eventually be willing to lay bare. Beaver spirit. Now this is Virgo energy, and this is moving forward. This is finding a certainty in your work. Maybe even finding an outlet for the pain in your work. But this is always being nagged. This is a really nagging energy, insisting, nagging, pushing, something always bothering you, something just always being a little off and not being right, but being extremely persisting in order to, pain. It's literally function. It's functional pain. That's all I can say. This is living with I always say addiction. It's fucking like not everybody's fucking addicted. This is bigger than addiction. This is pain. It's like you learned to be functional within a constant pain that you were feeling all the time. You learn to be functional in it. And the thing is, it influenced you so much that it's what you grew up in. And it's how you became who you are. So it is an essential part of who you are, and you almost feel like you're going to lose these wings that you were able to grow if you cut out that pain. It's almost like you feel like you're dependent on the pain to remain all that you are. But that is bullshit. The pain is just a part of the breaking down before you grow your wings. You have your wings now, and nobody can take them away from you. You have transcended. This is also acceptance, truth, social responsibility, because it's Aquarian energy of realizing sort of a higher mindset of because Aquarian energy is very much your opposite energy. Oh boy. It is the house of community instead of the house of self-pursuits. Doing things for the greater good instead of for your own good. I understand. Yeah. You learn to work with the pain for the greater good. And that's what it was. And you actually used the pain. You used the pain quite cleverly to be able to do what you thought was best for others, or motivate you to do something maybe in your work, take on a certain level of responsibility that was right for others, or protecting others, doing right by others, making the world a better place. It was motivational pain. Let's put it that way. It was functional and motivational pain. And this is this is the bad part about that, because it's really wonderful that it took you this far, but now you think you need it. Now you think you always have to keep it where it is. You think you always have to hold on to it, and you've almost preserved its festering and its ugliness because you think that you're going to be nothing without it, and that's bullshit. It's time to transcend. You have to believe in that. You have to believe in it, because now is the time to jump out of the need for that pain and the need for that suffering. And hello, camera, focus. Trust in it's all about faith. 100%, there's nothing else here but faith. And it is a tricky thing, because faith leaves you nothing to hold on to. It's like jumping off a cliff and sprouting wings on your way down. Like, that's what this is, but you have to take the leap of faith. It's time for you to understand and realize that you don't need. It didn't make you. You used it to make something, and now it was just a tool, and you're allowed to put it down. It's not a limb. It's not attached to you. It's not a part of who you are. It was a tool that you used, and now you have to put it down. Okay? Transformation here is key. This is that butterfly energy that I was talking about, that catharsis. Yes, it was painful. Pain is part of what the caterpillar goes through. It breaks itself down to its most basic elements. That's got to be torment. And it does it in a safe place of its cocoon, but it's very vulnerable. This is what you're going through right now, but this is where you're headed. Your transformation is beautiful, and it is catharsis, and that's what you're going through right now. You have the strength right now that you didn't have before, and it's a strength that is going to enable you to transform. Reclaim your power. And this is about coming out of the dark and getting your sense of self back. But it's also, what was I mentioning before? It's shadow work. And you reclaim your power I've never come across a more perfect image than what Ursula Le Guin created when she created that scene between Ged and his shadow. I've never come before a perfect imagery of what it means to reach out to your shadow and accept that it is a part of you and that it'll always be a part of you, and to love it enough to know that you don't have to and shouldn't want to force it to go away, to incorporate it into who you are. So this is literally loving all dynamics of yourself, taking your power back by no longer refusing to divide yourself into what is acceptable to you and what is not. No, you're not dividing yourself anymore. You're a whole package now, and that is going to build you up and make you so much more powerful and stronger. Yep, time for a deep dive, and this is all about love and romance. Understanding what has motivated you to love, what you have expected from love, what you've tried to get out of love. Also, this sense of being a swan, going from something ugly to something beautiful, finding beauty in something that was ugly, that ugly duckling. It will transform. This is that transformation from something frightening, something vicious, something predatory, to something absolutely beautiful and kind and caring and gentle. The defensiveness and the predatory aspect is really part of the defensiveness. Be peace is next. These are both Libran energy. It's about finding peace through love, and love is connection to the self first, connection to God first and foremost, and then connection to everybody else as well. So this is about connectivity and finding faith again. And this is what I say: take yourself to someplace beautiful. Take yourself where it's easy for you to pray. Do it because you have to, because you're being irresponsible if you don't. Plain and simple. This is finding peace and love again, and tranquility. And then surrender to the unknown. This is that Sagittarian energy diving right in. You feel it almost like a moth to a flame, like you're stepping into something where you're inevitably going to get burned and destroyed. But the truth is that only feels that way because you don't fully understand it. And you can't fully see the way forward, but you're not supposed to because you've never been here before. This is trusting the divine mystery, trusting the unknown, and just going for it. Just trusting. Maybe you need to get burned. Maybe you need to just burn up, and that's the healing. That catharsis is that transformation through flame. So it's like, yeah, let yourself go. Let yourself look directly into the flame. Let it be that purifying moment for you where you are 100% one with the light instead of separate from it. Life is a mystery. Surrender now. This is where the vulnerability comes in. This is also a sense of do something that you haven't done before, because everything you've tried up until now hasn't worked. So you're going to have to try the thing that scared you the most that you were trying to avoid. Okay. That's a lot. It was a big, big reading. And I think that there's a lot of clarifications. I want to go into tarot to see some of the details that I think would be very important for you guys. And that, of course, is below. But let me pull the angel cards because their voice, I think more than anything right now, it needs to be heard. This is for Leo. And they've got a lot of messages for you. They've got a lot of messages. Hold on. They knew exactly what to say. And the unknown is one of the first cards that turned over. So let's read that. The unknown. Do not fear the unknown. That's what they want to say. This is a time of deep exploration and transformation. Dude, I just shuffled the cards. How is this? Because they listen. They listen. I channel their energy. Do not fear the unknown. This is a time of deep exploration and transformation. Unfamiliar territory leads to new horizons. Doing something new, trying something new is going to help you become a better you. Compassion, and this is a very important card. Listen. When you show greater compassion toward yourself, the universe automatically responds by showering you with greater blessings. Love that part of you, please. Don't be ashamed of it anymore. Precious gift. Friendship, family, and love are precious gifts. Do not lose sight of what is most important. I think you've disconnected from yourself and maybe in some ways risked relationships with your family because of you hating yourself. You have detached yourself from them, or maybe even shouted at them and taken things out on them. They are your conduit, and I think this is what those cards mean. It is the love that you have in your life that you're going to find peace through. It is your ability to be loved by others and cared for instead of being the one that cares for. That's what's going to transform your life right now. They are your conduit to transformation. So lean on them and trust them. Healing. I, the angel of healing, am with you right now. Feel my presence and my unwavering love for you. I have loved you before the dawn of time, and I will love you for all eternity. Healing. And you're going to be able to heal through your family. You don't have to leave them out of this. You have to let them in. Healing angel. So we have healing and healing angel. Both of these popped out. This is a very important moment. You are being bathed. At this very moment, you are being bathed in gold, pink, and deep green light. Accept this healing. We, your angels, surround you with wings of love. You are eternally free, eternally fresh, and eternally abundant. There is one thing that is sitting deep inside of you that is making you sick. We are protecting you, surrounding you in a barrier of safety, of protection. Surround yourself in a protection and a barrier of people that you love. Go ahead and be sick in front of them. Let's go to tarot. The link is below. I'll see you guys over there.